5 teenagers were interrogated by New York City detectives for up to 28 hours. Some were 14 years old. None of them had committed the crime they were being questioned about. By the end of those interrogations, all 5 had confessed on videotape. The DNA recovered from the victim did not match any of them. That fact was known before trial. The 5 were convicted anyway. They served between 6 and 13 years in prison. The man who actually raped Trisha Mealy in Central Park on the night of April 19, 1989, was a convicted serial rapist named Matthias Reyes, already in prison for other violent crimes, and in 2002, he told investigators exactly what he had done. DNA confirmed it. The 5 were exonerated 13 years after the night police first brought them in. On April 19, 1989, a group of teenagers left a gathering in Harlem and entered Central Park. That same evening, Trisha Mealy, 28, went for a run on the East Drive near the 102nd Street Transverse. She was ambushed, beaten with a rock and a pipe, sexually assaulted, and left unconscious with severe brain injuries that erased her memory of the attack. She survived but could not recall the assault. That night, police detained several teens in the park for unrelated complaints of harassment. Among those taken in were Corey Wise, 16, Yusef Salam, 15, Raymond Santana, 14, Antron McCrae, 15, and Kevin Richardson, 14. They were questioned about Mayla's assault, and the questioning stretched through the night and into the following day. The interrogations violated multiple legal and procedural standards. Several of the youths were questioned without a parent or legal guardian present for many hours. None were effectively advised of their right to remain silent in a way a frightened adolescent could understand or act upon. Detectives employed a version of the Reed technique, a method that uses deception and psychological pressure. Claims that other suspects had implicated the youth, assertive statements about damning physical evidence, promises of leniency for cooperation. Those methods are especially potent on young, cognitively vulnerable individuals who do not grasp the consequences of confessing. The confessions produced contained factual errors and contradictions that betrayed the confessor's lack of actual knowledge of the crime. The detectives continued regardless. The human cost was immediate and devastating. Corey Wise, arrested at 16 and tried as an adult, received a sentence of 5 to 15 years and served nearly 13, the longest of the 5. Yusef Salam, Antron McCrae, Raymond Santana, and Kevin Richardson were tried as juveniles and spent 6 to 7 years each in juvenile and later adult facilities. They lost adolescence, schooling, relationships, employment opportunities, and freedom for crimes that DNA tests would have excluded prior to trial. Corey Wise encountered Matthias Reyes in prison. Years later, Reyes later said that seeing Wise behind bars unjustly factored into his decision to admit responsibility. The case was reopened in 2001, when Matthias Reyes, serving life for other murders and rapes from the same era, told prison officials he had information about the Central Park assault. He gave a detailed confession that included precise facts consistent with the crime scene. DNA testing linked Reyes to the biological material recovered from Mealy, material that had never matched any of the 5 men. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office carried out a reinvestigation. In December 2002, it concluded Reyes had acted alone, that the confessions by the 5 were unreliable, and that their convictions should be vacated. The 5 men were formally exonerated. The legal aftermath was messy and revealing. The Manhattan Supreme Court vacated the convictions in December 2002. Reyes was not prosecuted for the Mealy attack because he was already serving a life sentence, and the statute of limitations for related charges had passed. The 5 filed a civil suit against the city of New York in 2003. The case lingered through successive administrations. In 2014, the city settled for $41 million, roughly $1 million per year of wrongful imprisonment per man. Detectives who led the interrogations were not criminally disciplined. Prosecutors who advanced the case were not sanctioned. At every institutional checkpoint, police, prosecution, judiciary, the system failed. Coercive interrogation produced false confessions that prosecutors used to secure convictions, while exculpatory DNA evidence was downplayed or reframed. Judges and juries accepted inconsistent statements as credible. The media amplified guilt. The 5 were publicly vilified, named and photographed in headlines and editorials that demanded harsh punishment. The New York Post ran an editorial invoking the death penalty as an answer. Accountability for the officials who built and defended the case was minimal. This episode is not merely an isolated injustice, it fits a broader pattern. False confessions are a leading cause of wrongful conviction in the United States. The Innocence Project reports false confessions contribute to nearly 29% of DNA exonerations. Young people and those with cognitive or developmental vulnerabilities are disproportionately represented among false confessors. Techniques like the Reed method, still widespread in American policing, have been shown to produce unreliable admissions. There was change. The case pushed reforms. New York City adopted policies requiring videotaped interrogations in serious cases, a safeguard advocates sought for decades. The story reframed national conversations about false confessions, racial bias, and juvenile interrogation. Ava DuVernay's 2019 miniseries When They See Us brought the episode back into public view, prompting new scrutiny of figures like Linda Fairstein, the supervising prosecutor, whose career and contracts were affected by public criticism. Yet legal accountability for people who engineered the prosecutions remains absent. The most devastating fact endures. 5 teenagers confessed under pressure. DNA did not match. Authorities knew, and still they were convicted. They served years for a crime they did not commit. The actual perpetrator admitted the assault and matched the DNA. The city paid $41 million. No prosecutor or detective faced criminal charges. Subscribe to Case Files TV. The confession on tape looked like evidence, but it wasn't.